FM wires. That's what I first called them. I found those wires carried a message for anyone who'd listen. And this is the story of me and our farm. My name's Bob. That's me and Jim, our hired hand. That's Pa. As long as I can remember, Pa had been working the farm by hand. And ever since I was big enough to carry a milk pail, we all had more work to do than there was daylight to do it in. Maybe it was Judy's farm down the road that really started me thinking. Everything seemed so orderly, so well run. Judy's father was what folks in our county called a successful farmer. Some of the old-timers used to say his cow barn was more up to date than most people's homes. I'll never forget the first time I saw them doing their milking by electricity. That opened my eyes to what electric power meant to a modern farm. At our place, even the water had to be pumped by hand. We didn't have an electric wire on the whole farm. And trying to raise chickens good enough to rate a 4-H club championship was one of the toughest jobs I ever tackled. You see, Judy was a 4-H club member too. And we'd had sort of a friendly rivalry every year as to which one of us would win a poultry prize. Of course, Judy always had a head start on me because their place had just about everything, even automatic lighting. Boy, those chickens worked for her night and day. But the thing that used to get me down was the way Ma had to work. Seemed like everything she did, she had to do the hard way. An old-fashioned chain pump might be kind of picturesque to city folks visiting a day or so in the country. But when you have to depend on it for everything, all year round, it's another story. I used to say it must take Ma 1,000 steps just to get breakfast ready. Judy and I both went in town to Central High. Judy's specializing in home economics, cooking and housekeeping. Miss Riley is her teacher, and I mean they really have everything in that class. Vocational agriculture was my favorite all through school. Mr. Evans spent a lot of time telling us about automatic electric water systems, about all the things a motor can do on a farm. And it was right here that my pal Joe and I decided to do something. I made a sort of deal with Mr. Roy, who runs the electric shop in town. He had a second-hand motor, and I bought it on time. Joe and I took my motor over to his house in town. He has sort of a workshop down cellar, and I couldn't wait to try it out. Mr. Roy's men were installing a brand new automatic electric water heater that same afternoon. Boy, what I wouldn't have given to see one of those going into our house. But that afternoon, I had my new motor. I felt sort of like Thomas Edison or Eli Whitney. The county fair that fall had everything. Judy and I went together and we had a lot of fun. But what we were both looking forward to, really, was the finals of the poultry competition. I always did pretty well in the 4-H show, but I'd never won a blue ribbon. Judy won, I thought it was swell. After all, I felt it was sort of keeping it in the family. Well, a fella can dream, can't he? I used to drive Judy home whenever I could promote the family jalopy. Just being with Judy was the best time of all. One day we ran across Judy's father installing an electric fence in his place. Even when he used to kid with us, I always admired the way he got things done. I got a lot of ideas from him, and I remembered them. But this was Judy's birthday. I had to hurry home and get my chores done if I was going to her party. Judy's father got through his work early that day, but then he always did. He had his own private office, complete with shower bath. You know, her mother's kitchen really isn't very big, but it's such an easy place to work in. And I was always thinking how I'd like for my mother to have a kitchen like hers. This, I used to say, would be the way I'd run my farm. This would be the way a farmer should live. It seemed like every time I saw how easy it was for Judy's mother to run her house, it made me realize more and more how far behind the times we were. lot of fun together in that party. I don't think I'll ever forget it. Never forget this. I had to be up early, so the party broke up a little after 10. That was late for me. Driving home, I began to hear those singing wires. I got to thinking and dreaming of all the things they could mean to life, and how hard life was without them. Light, Ma and Pa faced the end of each day tired and discouraged. But by now, that second-hand motor was generating more than power. I was making plans. I could see that harnessed energy doing the work for Ma's tired back. See Pa getting a new lease on life instead of going to bed with the chickens. When he stopped to ask me what I was doing, that was my chance to speak up. I had all the facts and figures down in black and white. I showed him how the farm could be electrified gradually. When Pa began to take some interest, I showed him how we ought to begin with an automatic water pumping system for the house and farm. How the average farm uses several hundred gallons of water a day. Dad thought some of the things were pretty fancy, but that water system really caught his eye. I showed him how electric milking and milk cooling would help pay for other electrical appliances. And when he saw how he'd save several $100s a year on increased farm production, that convinced him. But I think what really put the idea across was what the whole thing would mean to Mother. Hot running water in the house, an electric range, electric refrigeration, and electric laundry. And when he saw an actual saving of some $900 above the cost of the equipment, I knew I had him. I proved that we could expand the farm with less work, that electrification would give us more production and more profits. Anyway, it wasn't long before the power company was stringing wires to our farm. Try to do everything the first year, but it wasn't long before Yes, life was easier. We were never happier. Judy took to coming over more often and helping Ma with supper. Folks wouldn't believe it was our same old kitchen. Once Ma and Pa sat down to supper without being dog-tired. Our old living room underwent a complete transformation. We could even see into those old dark corners. As for Judy and me, well, this was seventh heaven. for the first time in, I don't know when, Ma and Pa agreed to go in town with us to the movies. Only 7 o'clock. Yes, and all is very well. Electricity had done all this. Electricity doing the heavy work in the farm. That was the welcome message I heard in Singing Wires.